Welcome to Naperville Notables. I'm Liz Spencer. Today we're going to meet the CEO of an organization here in town that you might not know a lot about, and that's the Naperville Development Partnership and the Naperville Convention and Visitors Bureau. So you kind of wear multiple hats, like three hats, three different big key functions happen here. Tell me what they are and what this place is all about.
All three functions operate under the Naperville Development Partnership, which is the parent operation, the parent corporation. But we also have the Naperville Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we have Dine Naperville, which is the restaurant marketing. So the common theme throughout is marketing, where all three of the operations are selling Naperville, just different aspects.
Cool. Well, it is all things Naperville. So let's start with tourism and the Convention Bureau. I would bet that most people don't realize we have one.
A lot of people don't realize we have a Convention and Visitors Bureau until they need one. And then they'll find us. So our services are fairly unique. We run everything from concierge operations to assisting with the booking of the rooms for all different types of events. So the complimentary services are offered to corporate sales events. We have youth sporting and other sporting events, and probably our specialty is helping local families plan their weddings.
That's cool. So when you're thinking tourism, you're thinking Convention Bureau, and people are calling to find out what kind of space we have, what kind of rooms. Talk me through this. If I'm a business and I'm looking to have a big sales meeting here, what might I be looking for?
You're going to have a few things you're looking for. First and foremost, you're looking for hotel rooms, and you want them at a rate with the amenities that you select. So our Convention and Visitors Bureau staff, our sales team, will send out bids based on your preferences to all 17 hotels in Naperville. Once that information comes back, your name is confidential, so the information comes back to the Bureau, and then the Bureau will set up a site visit for any of the hotels that you've selected. So there may be 3 or 4 hotels, and our team will take you. They'll not only arrange the visits, but they'll actually go with you on the site visits to select your hotel. The second thing they're going to look for is venue for their meeting activities. And that could be in-house at one of the hotels, or it might be at one of the other banquet and conference facilities that we have throughout town, such as Mason Sabika or NIU or North Central College. They all offer meeting venues.
That's very cool.
And third is what to do during your downtime. And that could be dining, that could be golf, it could be visiting the Riverwalk or doing a historic tour at Naper Settlement.
It's amazing. I would not think that Naperville would have all that. We think of Chicago, and now we need to think about Naperville for that kind of service.
Well, Naperville has 150,000 residents. That's a lot of weddings. It has over 5,000 businesses, 60,000 people working here every day. And then we have 17 hotels with over 2,000 hotel rooms. So we are a pretty big force in the hospitality business. Doesn't appear so on the surface, but there are only 17 hotels and 2,000 hotel rooms is a pretty large operation.
Wow, no, it doesn't appear that way at first blush. And then you think, wow. And it's really helpful from a business aspect to have you guys do that legwork, doesn't it? That saves a ton of time.
Saves a ton of time, and our services are all complimentary and they're free. The other thing we do for businesses and for events coming in is we have welcome bags. So in the welcome bag, we'll put a visitor's guide, a dining guide. We usually have a fun little gift item, memento of Naperville. And whether it's your sales team or whether it's your family and guests coming out for a family event, they're greeted with a welcome bag when they arrive.
That's very cool. So that's kind of for the business person here, but I think it's equally neat that you help the weddings and the brides. And I would imagine that you help a lot in Naperville, but if somebody's looking to have their wedding in Naperville.
We do that also.
So,
So we look at Naperville brides, we call them our Naperville brides. We meet a lot of them at the Naper Settlement wedding trade show, or now we have coming up soon is the Wedding Walk in downtown. And so both our Visitors Bureau staff and our hotels will be staffing a lot of the spots where you'll be stopping. But some of the things we do with wedding guests, we'll take your list and we'll mail out a visitor's guide in advance to welcome them to the wedding, to let them know where the hotel room is, where the room block is, what the price is. And then we also include in there other activities and events that might be taking place that same weekend. So instead of just coming out for a day or two, maybe they'll come for an extended weekend stay and visit Naperville.
And all this is complimentary, meaning
All of it,
free.
All of it is brought to you by the city of Naperville through the hotel tax.
Wow. And why do we do this?
We do this because the economic impact of tourism is incredibly significant. There's over $2 billion in economic impact in DuPage County, with thousands of employees, over 20,000 employees working in the hospitality industry, payrolls in DuPage County in the hospitality world, over 500 million. It's pretty significant. Plus, on top of that, it's all new dollars coming into the community. So rather than you buying lunch here, which we appreciate that you buy lunch here in Naperville, when somebody comes in from Bloomington or they come from Milwaukee for an event and they spend their money, those are new dollars coming into the community. So there's a much bigger impact of tourism dollars. That's why you see the competition so fierce for tourism.
Interesting. And it's funny because I always look at people's license plates and that, and I see they're from Colorado. I'm like, what are they doing here? How did they find Naperville? And my guess is they found Naperville because somehow you found them, or one of their relatives found them, or a business found them. So
it's a lot of both. If people are coming to visit the Chicagoland area, and Chicago is still a huge draw, it's considered a world-class city, as is Naperville. But some people are intimidated by the price of rooms in downtown Chicago, the cost to park. Sometimes the cost to park is half the price of the room, another $50. If they stay in Naperville, they can commute either by train or drive into the city, but it makes it a little bit more relaxing. So you can experience all the culture of Chicago. Not to mention all the businesses that we talked about. There are so many families and businesses. People like to come to Naperville and use it as sort of a launch to the whole Chicagoland area. So there's a lot to see and do. There's a lot more to see and do in your own backyard than people realize.
Sure, and it's oftentimes, I think people find out what there's to do in their own backyard when people come to visit them, and then they're suddenly,
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, Aunt Betty's showing up, I need something to do.
Exactly.
So that might be where they might hit your website that has a lot of great stuff to do.
The website will direct you to the Century Walk and go visit the history of the city through street art, which is a fabulous exhibit spread throughout the city. The Naper Settlement Historical Museum, the Children's Museum. The Riverwalk, of course, is such a draw, and there's so many things to do and see throughout the downtown. A lot of different shopping areas. You've got the South Naperville area, you've got up north along I-88 with Freedom Commons. So there's just a tremendous amount of things to do. Parks, bike trails, forest preserves, just in abundance here in Naperville.
Even a small, tiny beach. It's not quite as prestigious, maybe sand-wise, as some of the others, but it's got heart and soul.
It has heart and soul. My father and mother used to come out here on dates from Chicago back in the 30s. So, not to date, I'm sorry, but out to the quarry in the
Sure.
late 30s. So it's been a staple. The Carillon is a staple, and then all the festivals and events from Rib Fest and Last Fling and all the great entertainment. One of the things we really prize is the new Wentz Concert Hall, where the shows are tremendous. So you have Pfeiffer Hall and Wentz Concert Hall and Miley Swallow. So you have a whole theater district. And if people just pull up the website, they'll see that dinner and a show in Naperville can't be beat.
Well, and speaking about dinner and a show, I think it's one thing that I've noticed out in Naperville. My family, my brother lives in Chicago, but a large amount of restaurants that I can go visit him with have come out to here as well. So they've got both a Naperville and a Chicago location.
They're usually the two. Those will be the first two. Once they move out of Chicago, or once they have established a Chicago presence, they like to come to Naperville next. So places like Catch 35 or Hugo's Frog Bar / Gibson's, Sullivan's, and Heaven on 7th. I mean, there's just some fabulous, fabulous choices. But it runs the whole gamut throughout the city. You can find Biaggi's and La Sorella. You've got Tommy Nevin's for an Irish pub down south community, as well as Quigley's here in downtown Naperville, which is certainly a stopping point for a lot of us. Going north, you have Maggiano's and Morton's and White Chocolate Grill. So there's such a great array. And they're scattered throughout the city. So no matter where you're traveling throughout Naperville, you're going to find great options. You can eat. You can eat fine food, and you can eat family-friendly at family places. So it's a lot of options.
Oh, and how does you have Dine Around Naperville? I mean, you have this restaurant group. How does that play into helping get restaurants here? Because restaurants, again, bring people, attract people, and that whole tourism idea of new dollars, that you want people maybe coming here rather than going there. We won't say there where there is, but to go spend their money here. So
we laugh. We call it leave nothing on the table. And so when people are coming in, whether it's for the Naperville Marathon or whether it's the Ryder Cup or Solheim Cup for different events, we've actually manned concierge tables where our Visitors Bureau and Dine Naperville staff will dial up reservations for groups coming in and making sure that they're getting into restaurants in Naperville. So they don't need to leave. There's all those restaurants you just mentioned right here in Naperville. So we'll run, we call ourselves Naperville's concierge desk, and we mean it. So we'll make dinner reservations for you too at group functions.
That's fun. I think that, and you mentioned probably, three of my most fun moments for Naperville was, the marathon, and then being able to also host the Solheim Cup and Ryder Cup. Big prestigious events in neighboring areas, but bringing a lot of people here to Naperville, and then a marathon being here in our backyard. So
those are so important, and our partnerships with the LPGA, our partnerships with our hotels, our partnerships with the Park District, and of course our partnership with NCTV.
We try to help.
You do help. And in fact, if people are new to the area or looking at a new restaurant, they can go on and view the Dine Around Naperville videos with our host Ray Kinney and produced by NCTV. You actually get inside the restaurants and you meet the owners, or you might meet the chef, but you find out about their specialties and their ambiance even before you go.
I think it's, and not that because we do them, but it's nice to be able to see where you're going to go and see what the room looks like, and is this going to appeal to me, or is mom going to like it, or is my sister going to like it? It just kind of gets an idea.
Exactly.
What
and
you're
you know
walking
what
into.
To wear.
Yes, and you know what to wear.
Yeah.
It's former Mayor Peg Price, when I spoke with her one time, said that you've got Chicago and you've got Naperville out here, and it's becoming it's a city unto itself, but it's a destination for people even more west. So when someone from DeKalb is saying they're going to the city, they really mean the city of Naperville. And that just, I thought, and that she saw that, when she was mayor, 30 years ago, and that was a goal. And I think now it is really true. And
it is true.
And this plays a role. Your group plays a role.
Well, and we have a great opportunity with the restaurants. And it goes back to, as I said, you're not driving into the city of Chicago, not that we discourage people from doing that, but if you're looking for a suburban location, kind of a dining mecca, it's Naperville. And again, you're not paying to park in downtown or in South Naperville or the north side. You're not paying to park. So again, that could be $20 to $50 off your bill that you can buy a finer steak or lobster tail. So
something like that.
Yeah, we encourage people to come. The other thing we have is a really vibrant nightlife. So from an entertainment standpoint and live music and things like that, Naperville's kind of become the it place. So when college is out for spring break, all the Naperville kids congregate into the downtown and meet and greet and enjoy some live music.
Cool. Well, and let's talk a little bit about North Central College. That helps. You're, not only because of a venue, but it draws people to it. I mean, a college in a town helps bring up the level of culture.
It absolutely does. And they have gifted to the city so many fine buildings here that are used by all of us in the public realm. But the students are well behaved. They're great students. They also supply a great labor force for a lot of our shops.
I know many of them work. Yeah.
Not only do they work, but they like to eat. And so it's great having sort of that vibrancy of youth roaming throughout the downtown. And in fact, they just opened up their new gateway to the Benedetti Worley Stadium. And on the one end of that gateway is Fredenhagen Park. And our Visitors Bureau staffs, a North Central College young lady, staffs the Visitors Bureau there at Fredenhagen Park to help you with, again, your dinner plans, your lunch plans, or just a guide to the city.
That's neat. And this is during the summer mostly.
During the summer.
Yeah, I was going to say,
right.
It was probably a little cold this winter for her to be out there.
Exactly.
Well, that's neat. When did this all start? When did we get a tourism convention bureau?
Well, we started actually with the Naperville Development Partnership.
Okay, I was going to wonder if
That was the catalyst. And
Okay.
so back in the mid-90s, the city was looking to, city and chamber and business groups came together to form the Naperville Development Partnership. It is truly a public-private partnership. So on that, we have the mayor and some city council. We also have both school districts and the library and the park district are all at the table, along with private industry representatives who donate their time and resources along with the other groups to help basically raise the tide of the economy here in Naperville.
And so when you say raise the tide, so you've got this board that kind of looks at what's happening and what kind of things you need to happen or who's thinking about that. Tell me a little, because I know you help kind of woo businesses to think about Naperville as a location for their plant or their business or...
Well, we started in the mid-90s and really kind of launched in 1997. At that time, it's almost hard to believe, but the city of Naperville had very little new office and commercial development. Had some warehouse coming in, but the system had sort of broken down as the city grew larger. And it was very cumbersome and difficult to get a building permit, say, or expand your business. So working in collaboration with the city staff and the city officials, our organization helped to create the TED Business Group, which is Transportation Engineering Development. The main tenet of their group is customer service, making the permit process understandable. Never altogether easy because there are processes that have to be followed, but customer service goes a long way in helping guide someone. One of the things that they do is they have one point of contact. So if you, NCTV, wants to expand your facilities, you have one point of contact that helps you through the entire process. And that's kind of a luxury. So that was helpful. So that, having done that, it helped us to bring around a lot more new businesses willing to take another look at Naperville. We work with existing businesses to expand. So if you look at sort of the car dealer area out on West Ogden, you'll find an area that we were able to work with the city and private developer to create sort of that test track area. The reason for that is because it created expansion space for several of the existing car dealers. It created new spots for new development of new car dealers. And so you have expansion, new business. And you say, well, why are car dealers so important?
That was going to be my question. I think I know the answer, but I want you to tell me anyway.
They're a third of the sales tax, and the city's sales tax generation is actually higher than property tax. So there is definitely a correlation. If you shop local, buy your car local, buy your groceries local, it does come back to you in the form of lower property taxes. So that's why we do what we do. You bring in commercial development for job creation, so we seek out good paying jobs, good employers to fill our office buildings and to build new, as well as retail, so car dealers and grocery stores and our downtown restaurants. All of those contribute to the sales tax, which helps offset the property tax, and then 70%, a little over 70% of the property tax from the commercial developments goes straight to our school districts. So it helps support our quality education, which is fabulous, without putting any new kids in the school. So those are the reasons that we sort of bring it all together.
Well, and we've had some neat things, come around. We've got Standard Market building.
Yep.
Due to open soon.
Yep.
Watching them as we drive by.
Yes.
And an exciting new hotel opportunity downtown with the Water Street development. And those are all things that you've played a role in a little bit in your group.
We do. We try and make the playground, if you will, the community receptive. And a lot of that depends on having really good government leadership. So we really have to tip our hat to a leadership group and a city council, mayor and city council, who've been very approachable in how they view new developments in the city, as well as taking good care of the residents. So their being pro-economic development is another way for them to be pro-resident in trying to share the cost and keep the costs spread out. So that's where, and job opportunities are important. When people are looking for a job and they want to stay in Naperville, they don't want to move, they don't want to have to relocate. So it's important that we create those job opportunities. But I often say we have a really good product. We don't sell a widget, we sell a sense of place, and that place is Naperville. So we have a really good product, and I think we have a really good sales team working together to sell this community.
And how did you become a part of this sales team and the leader of it? So I give you a lot of credit for developing this whole concept so fully, and wow.
Well, we're fortunate that some of the groundwork was laid before I got here. A lot of our board members who were original to the board, founding members such as Hal Wilde. Behind me we have the Hal Wilde Boardroom, which was named for the president of North Central College who recently retired. That type of leadership, but I think the most important part is everybody that served on our board knew that there was no personal reward or return on it, that what they were doing is giving of their time and resources to help grow the economy in Naperville. And if we can grow the economy in Naperville, it'll be good for all. So that's been sort of key to this success. We are very much low-key. A lot of people say we're sort of below the radar, which is how we like to operate. We don't issue a lot of press releases on projects coming in.
No, I have to call all the time.
We think businesses will tell the world when they're building, and our job is once the building's under construction or the expansion is underway, move on to the next. What have we done lately? And so the economy is a constantly changing environment, and it's much more global now. 30 years ago when I got into this line of work, we were competing with Indiana, or we might have been competing with Wisconsin. Now we compete with Ireland, and we're competing with London, and we're competing with Florida and farther reaching areas. And with the rise of technology and the internet, it's kind of put everybody on a more equal playing field. What we do have that can't be duplicated is we are the crossroads of the nation. We do have an infrastructure surrounding the Chicagoland area that is second to none. I mean, 2 international airports. O'Hare is fabulous. The interstate network, we are truly the crossroads of the nation, and as long as we maintain that infrastructure, we'll maintain our strength.
Tell me, I was always under the impression, I could get my history wrong here, that Hal kind of formed the development partnership.
Hal was part of a small group that came together. I know it seems strange, but there had been about 5 years of little or no office development, and the college needed to grow. Edward Hospital was growing, all the local businesses, and this is where people invested their time, their money, their families grew up here, and it was important to them to have somebody out selling. It's a bit of an arrogance by a community to think they don't need a salesperson. Picture your operation or any business without a sales force. You can only go so far on reputation, and certainly Naperville has won so many awards, and it has so much to be proud of. But it's important to have a sales force out there, making sure that the word is getting out. Here in the state of Illinois, they have programs that assist us here locally in attracting businesses and working with the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. We've been very successful in helping to expand some of our employment here. So we've been very fortunate, but Hal was a big part of it. I could go down the list. We'll stop with Hal because there's so many that were a part of launching this. But it took the city to want it also,
sure.
And that was important.
Right. I always remember President Wilde, in his experience at another small college in the town that this college was in was not vibrant enough and thus the college wasn't thriving because the town wasn't thriving. And that
Right.
brings it back to that town and gown
Yes.
thought, that it kind of goes together, and then you add the hospital in, and that makes a whole lot of sense.
Well, they're two of our largest employers. Edward Hospital is our largest employer here, and those are good paying jobs with good benefits, and it's important, and having good health care is important to attracting good businesses and new residents. So that, along with our school district, we often kind of laugh, which is the most important, and each one says it's us. But it's truly a coming together, a collaboration of all those types of things that attract good businesses. If businesses want to attract the best and brightest to come work for them, you have to give them an environment where they want to live. And so having good schools and having a safe community and great city services and a great college right here in town and great healthcare, all of that makes a difference when people are sizing up where they're going to move their new business operation.
Right, well, and it's a big decision. It's a lot of dollars to move a company. I mean, if we think of just moving ourselves, let alone a company, so it's important of where they land. What type of background does someone need to run this place? What's your background? How in the world did you end up
in economic development?
Yeah.
And running a visitors bureau.
Right, in Naperville, Illinois.
I've pretty much done it throughout the Chicagoland area.
Okay, a little practice
going
before
back.
you got to us. Good.
Did little
Good.
practice before I got
Good,
here,
good.
and starting with the
Here I
south
just-
suburbs.
Here, I just thought you were a professional golfer. That's what I thought you were before. I
I'm
got
a professional fourth. If anybody needs a fourth for their outing,
Okay.
give me a
Okay.
call. Started out of college, actually. I went to Loyola in Chicago and started with a small community as my internship. Then I went into regional economic development, so at various times, 30 to 40 municipalities. And then ran a visitors bureau, or worked on a visitors bureau down there. We eventually hired a professional to come in. And then worked for the city of Geneva before coming here. And there were a lot of similarities between Geneva, municipal electric, river running through it, a little river walk, quaint downtown. And we were, again, bringing in new, larger retail and industrial and office users. So there were a lot of similarities. I felt very comfortable in coming to Naperville. I was very excited about the challenge of running a new public-private partnership. So it was kind of small, and it was make what you can of it. And as we grew it, and with each success and each new partnership, we became stronger. And we have a working board. Our board of directors pitch in and make it all work. So you never know when you're going to need any different, any individual, but they're there for you to help get the deal done.
Well, that's terrific, and I know some of your board, and they're leaders in Naperville, so it would make sense that they are vested in coming and making sure it thrives.
And they're passionate with it.
Right.
The other thing, we have a community. A lot of businesses say that they're looking for a fair deal. They want low taxes, good services. They don't want to play a lot of games with incentive programs and things like that. They want to know that the community they're coming into is solid, has a good bond rating, can make the investment into infrastructure for the long term before they put their money into a new facility. And Naperville offers just that. And it does appeal to a lot of businesses. They do truly believe what they say. Give us a good deal at a good, fair price, and don't play games with us. And that's where I think Naperville has been incredibly successful.
That's awesome. And we're sitting in your brand new space. Talk about growing and coming full circle. You have had many homes with this visitors.
Yes.
And tourism board and NDP has had many homes. So, and look at you now. Look at this place.
It is a nice place. Our landlord was very nice to us when we were looking for a place. We actually have been on the move a little bit because a large private business needed our old space, and so our job was to get out of their way.
Right.
And the previous owner here, Inland, was terrific about helping us work on sort of appropriate non-for-profit space. But they helped us with the build out. This used to be the Comedy Shrine, and so now it's home to all three operations, and the Hale-Wilde Boardroom, which has been a great benefit for some of our charity operations. Our charitable boards have used the boardroom for meeting space, and we have to be on the second floor if we're going to stay near the in the downtown near City Hall, and so therefore we're a little bit of a hike to get to up here above Rosebuds and Bar Louie and River Square, but our doors are open and we love to have visitors come by.
Well, and now you got the cool sign outside too. They can see it at night. Look at that.
We have a nice sign. We followed all the city requirements for a very nice sign.
I'm sure that you did. I'm sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed.
They are, but it's a lovely sign. So we again appreciate some of our board members helping us with a lot of the build out. And again, if I start naming names, but let's just say there's been a lot of contributions by our board members giving back to help us create this space, and it's been wonderful.
Right, because the thing that I want to also emphasize is that, because it's a private public, so you are a not-for-profit.
We are a 501c6. We're a not-for-profit. Our economic development is through a matching grant with the city of Naperville, and then the tourism and restaurant marketing are both done through their respective tax collections. A portion of the restaurant food and beverage tax and a portion of the hotel tax goes to what we say prime the pump in both those industries, kind of putting money back in to help grow that industry.
Right, because I mean, oftentimes people think, much like they do with NCTV, that you're just an arm of the city, so therefore, of course, because everybody thinks the city has all the money in the world, which they don't either. But so it's important that people realize that you are a not-for-profit doing a lot.
We are a not-for-profit, and our board members all contribute financially, which we appreciate, and other partners. We rely on our partnerships, but the city is definitely our closest and largest partner. So we have a great relationship with them. It's important, I think, for any group like ours to be in collaboration and following a lot of the same mission and goals of the city in order for it to work. And we're fortunate that we have a very pro-business, pro-community city council.
Right, and you mentioned something about that for the NDP, it's flying underneath the radar.
It is.
It is. But you have a quiet leadership, so I kind of want to talk a little bit about how. I mean, you've got to manage. You've got a big, important, prestigious board, and how do you keep all the needs and wants and push of the board, and the businesses,
They manage
the brides.
Quite well. Yes, the brides. Yes, the brides are probably the most important. To keep the brides happy and mother of the brides happy is job one. Working back from there. As I said, we do work really closely amongst all the different partnerships and people on the board. Our executive board meets monthly, and so they keep kind of good tabs on what's going on. Confidentiality is very, very important, because when we're working to attract a business, we don't necessarily want to broadcast to every other state or community that the business is looking. But it's important to be proactive also in reaching out to our businesses. With the mayor's cooperation, we have what's called a lunch with the mayor. A lot of people don't realize, but they see kind of the sizzle as the new company coming in, and there's a lot of excitement and a lot of noise. But really the bread and butter of what we do is working with existing businesses to expand and making sure that our existing businesses are prosperous and they have to be happy here. If we lose an existing one, it takes two new ones to make up for that. And so that's very important. And that's where having board members and council members and public entities out in the street kind of talking amongst their businesses. They may hear before we do that there's an interest in expanding. An expanding business is ripe for relocation. So it's important that we reach out to these businesses, let them know that while they're doing business globally, that we here in Naperville find them, right here in our backyard, that they're really important to their local community. And so that's an important part, our business retention.
Well, I think, you mentioned something that, it's an old business adage. It's easier to keep a customer happy than to find a new one. In your case, find a new business, keep the ones here happy. So it seems like customer service plays a role in everything we do.
It does, and I think the other thing that's important is that we create a diversified economy. Back around the 2000, 2002, there was what kind of was coined a tech wreck and downsizing in a lot of the technology businesses. And Naperville had a lot of eggs in that one basket. So it created an opportunity for backfilling office space with a really diverse group of businesses. A lot of towns will try and go after one specific industry. We think our strength comes, and we've seen this through this past recession, where having a diverse workforce and diverse business base has really helped us out. So some of the back space has been filled with payroll services and health insurance businesses and food and things like that. And so we'll see something similar with the Office Max building as they relocate their headquarters with their merger down to Office Depot. That building is a spectacular headquarters building, and in 2007, when they selected it to move here, now we'll fast forward and we're working with the brokers, Jones Lang LaSalle, and the ownership to see about getting a new headquarters in there. So each time there's movement, there's also opportunity. It will be one of the largest office buildings on the market that's available for a turnkey operation. So we're optimistic. We're sad to see one of our major corporations leave, but we're also optimistic that Naperville will attract another growing industry into that building.
You mentioned technology, and one of the things that you're looking at, and you're partnered with the library on this, is this tech hub thing, for lack of a better way to describe it. I think it's got some different names now. It started out as bibliotech, and we've evolved, which I think is good.
It is.
And it's now Launchpad?
It's Launchpad. We're sort of putting under an umbrella name of Bibliotech Network, and that allows each of the different locations to have their own identity and their own name. So Launchpad might be the name that they choose at the 95th Street Library. But the Naperville, again, kind of going back to its laissez-faire, market-driven type of mentality, we looked at all the different incubator models and all the different co-share spaces, and right under our nose is this fabulous library system where people are already going and doing. One of the council members expressed to me in college, when they built a new student union, they didn't put in sidewalks for the first year. They literally let the students develop the path, and then wherever the grass was worn out, that's where they put the sidewalk. So in following that concept, we looked at where people are going. If they're operating out of their home or they're inventing something in their garage or their basement, what brings them out? And that's that networking and learning opportunities. And so we're better than the library. The library has the brick and mortar, they have the facilities, they have fabulous staff, knowledgeable business staff, and they have a lot of those resources that people will need when they're launching a new idea or creating a new idea. We're now partnering with the College of DuPage Small Business Development Center to run business startup programs, which is what they do. And so their innovation center will be coming and helping us do presentations and staffing to help guide people in intellectual property, preserving your intellectual property, how to write a business plan, how to do your marketing, those types of activities that maybe a single startup business person might need help with. Well, here's a place they can go. So we're thrilled with the collaboration, again, with the library system and their excitement and their talent that they're putting towards this. So again, baby steps and getting into it, seeing how if it resonates with the folks here. There's 3D printers that have already been used by both students and adults alike, and talking about possible, well, there's digital media centers, which is your world, and so people can do their own marketing pieces and put together and do the editing of their presentations, put it on a flash drive, and off that business person goes. So we're really, really excited about it. Excited about the partnership with both the library system, Naperville Library, and with the College of DuPage.
Well, it's exciting. You hear about incubators in Chicago and in New York, so it doesn't surprise me at all that Naperville is starting with one.
It is, and I think we're a little bit more conservative in our approach, but we think it has so much lower. So investment startup costs, which is key to starting a business, is having, you know, the right balance between investment costs, startup costs, and getting your business off the ground. So we think the library system is, I think it's an idea that could catch on and will catch on statewide.
Well, and you hit it on the head that, you know, the library was already moving towards supporting the business community. I mean, their business databases and their business librarians are incredible. The amount of stuff they know just, you know, blows me away. So I think that, yeah, pretty much ahead of the curve. So if you look towards the next 5 years, what is the NDP looking for Naperville? What are you guys trying to do?
Well, I think going forward, keeping a full occupancy in our office buildings, that's very key to us. Again, growing our local businesses, working with our local businesses. We're starting to approach build out, so it's important that what we see developed is appropriate for that area. One of the key projects we have is redevelopment of certain areas. So as we look at areas where maybe a business has closed their doors, a lot of corporate businesses just shut down all facilities, things like Dominic's or Kmart and that. So it's important that we put a lot of time and energy into getting those refilled because they're important anchors to a whole center. So it's not just how they affect one space, and truly grocery stores.
Sure. Right.
There's a lot of opportunities. I mean, we have the fabulous Casey's and Standard Market coming in, and jewel stores all here in town. And again, I'm going to leave some out, but we have great grocery stores here in town. And so having the Dominick stores open really affect the adjacent tenants in these centers. And so it's important for their survival that we make sure we get those filled again. Kmart buildings we have a couple of them in town, and it's important again that we can honor all the co-tenancy in the buildings, but it's important that we fill these for the vibrancy of that given area. South Community has some new developments down there, and we're working with them. It's important that they get a good mix, I think, where people feel comfortable in shopping, and pedestrian friendly is very important to the retail. So between those, the office developments, we're pretty active out there.
Sounds you're pretty busy.
One of the fun new projects is the new Autoplex, which is the Lionsgate Autoplex in the northwest sector of the city, and Burgess Development is building that. They're auto condos, and much like there's not too many like it, but you basically buy a condo and you create sort of a weekend getaway place. I hesitate to call it like a man's cave because it's for men and women, and they create just a entertainment area where people share their enthusiasm for cars and all that comes with that.
Wow, and that's coming to Naperville.
It's coming very soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's something to look forward to, and a little scoop that, you know, we just found out here with you. Christine, thanks for taking time and sharing a little bit about what you do and the important role the Naperville Development Partnership plays, and the tourism and the Convention Bureau and how that all works together. I don't think most of us realize that, A, we have all this and what role you play. So you are really flying under the radar. So we're trying to give you a little bit of PR here on Naperville Notables. So thanks so much.
Come visit us.
We will. Thanks so much.
Thank you.